Latest business news on the programme. Then we are, of course, as we are all this week, really turning to the Swiss Alps. The World Economic Forum is taking place, and our business editor Kate Moody joins us once again from Davos. Kate, one of the topics you're looking at today is into business leaders' confidence, isn't it, looking ahead?
Absolutely. That's certainly something that's on the minds of all the business leaders and indeed politicians who are gathered here in Davos. Some of the highlights on the program today include a farewell speech from the outgoing US Vice President Joe Biden. We'll also be hearing an address from Jack Ma of Alibaba. There is one panel that seems to address a lot of the concerns that are being felt here at the World Economic Forum. It's a discussion featuring Christine Lagarde and Larry Summers, and it's entitled Squeezed and Angry: How to Fix the Middle Class Crisis. Of course, low income growth and the feeling of being left behind, some of the things that we've been seeing that contributed to the changes that we saw of 2016, a big topic of discussion here in Davos. Now, for a closer look at what we've been discussing here at the World Economic Forum, I'm pleased to be joined by Lord Nicholas Stern, IG Patel Professor of Economics and Government at the London School of Economics. You're also former Chief Economist at the World Bank, among other many titles. Thanks so much for joining us here on France 24 this morning. Now, let's talk first of all about the UK's pending exit from the European Union. It's high on the agenda here in Davos. What did you make of Theresa May's 12-point plan that she outlined yesterday? Were you reassured? Did it answer all your questions?
It's too early to answer all the questions, and no, it didn't. But I think we got a clear signal, and one that's not surprising. Not so much the 12 points as the 1 point. And the 1 point is that there is a big priority for the current government, particularly the current Prime Minister of the UK, on controlling immigration. And in many ways, I think most of us see that as the biggest issue driving the vote in the UK. That's what she's responding to. She was the Home Secretary before and was dealing with those issues. So what we heard was a reaffirmation, an underlining, a re-emphasis of the importance of, to this government, to this Prime Minister, controlling immigration. And the rest of it follows from that, because if you control immigration, you don't have free movement of people from the EU, then you are not part of the single market. So that's the step. Once you make that step, it's not necessarily one I would have made, but that's the one the Prime Minister is making, then you have to try to make the best of a situation where you know you're leaving the single market.
Now, speaking of leaving the single market, do you think her view of a very strong and independent British economy is realistic? What will its strengths and weaknesses be once it does exit that single market?
I hope so. We will find out. I think the UK has been strongly internationalist, and I hope that stays. That means open to trade, open to investment, and open to many people. It won't be open in the same way as before to people moving to and from the European Union. But I think the internationalism of the UK is very important. The things that the UK might be good at, obviously I'm a university teacher at the London School of Economics, I think our higher education system and is something that is strong. We're very good on the creative industries. Some parts of manufacturing, like aerospace, some parts of defence. So there are areas, I think, where the UK is strong, and I hope that we invest very powerfully in those areas. I think innovation will be very important too. So we have to look to our strengths in the UK now in a more direct way perhaps than we did, because we were, I hope, good members of, or reasonably good members of the European Union before, which meant you had a more European perspective, and now I suppose it'll be more individualistic as a nation.
Just briefly, we're almost running out of time, I'm afraid. Last year's Davos does show that predictions here are very often wrong. What would you pinpoint as the top 3 challenges, though, looking ahead to 2017?
I think keeping globalisation and trade and investment going, because they really have driven world growth. They really have made an enormous difference to the reduction in poverty around the world. We may not have managed them all that well. I think that's more been technological change than globalization as such. So I do hope that the open global economy keeps going. There is a risk that it will stutter, and I think we must be aware of that. And as we press for that to continue, we must be aware of how to manage an economy in a way that those people who don't do so well do get some support and recreate opportunities for them.
Lord Stern, thank you so much for joining us here on France 24. We just have time for a quick check of how the markets are faring this Wednesday. European markets have just opened. We are seeing a positive start to the trading day. Over in Germany, we're seeing Deutsche Bank trading up about 1.3% as the U.S. Justice Department confirmed that it had signed a $7.2 billion settlement with the German bank. That's about half what was originally leveled against it. Over in Asia, we saw the Kospi leading with gains over 1%. The Nikkei closing up about half a percentage point this session. We'll have more from Davos throughout the day. Stay tuned to France 24.